Hello, everyone. Once again, here we are, Facebook Live, as we are every Tuesday, 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. Today, we're on the ninth topic in our series of 10 key topics in driving your business and personal life forward. And today's topic is extremely personal, I think, to every person, because we're going to talk about building personal savings and personal wealth. Now, I have 7 tips that I personally follow that I'm going to share with you today. Now, some of you might have some other tweaks, and if they work, continue to use them. If you disagree with any of these tips, I'd love to really hear your thought process on that. So send me messages regarding your thought process of how you see investing a little bit different. All right. So let me jump in on my 7 tips. First of all, when we talk about savings and we talk about building wealth, we really got to get our head in the game. And if you don't have your head in the game, you're going to make a lot of empty promises to yourself, in my personal opinion. So let's start with, what do we need to do to get our head in the game? Well, number one, if you don't have a revenue driving focus, what is there to save? How are you building wealth if you're not driving the original revenue to begin with? So if you really want to get building wealth and having the opportunity to create something that you don't have today, then you got to start generating revenue. So step 1, of my 7 tips is start with a plan to drive revenue. Yes, this has all to do with your DRC, your daily revenue commitment. But if you don't have a commitment to that, I'm going to be real blunt. You don't have a commitment to savings, and you don't have a commitment to building wealth. You need to generate revenue. All right. Now, I'm even going to go as far as to say is, we make budgets, but do you have a revenue budget? Do you really have it so deep into your mindset, into your body, into your thoughts that this is the revenue that I have to generate every single week, every single month, every single quarter? I am clear in what I have to do because I want to have X left over for savings, Y for investment, Z for bills, whatever the case may be. All right, so revenue driving, goals around revenue of what you're trying to do. And I have to tell you, I cannot impress upon you more of how consistency in this area will, when you think about winning or losing in any investment, start here. Because if you back off of your consistency on driving revenue, most expensive hit you'll take to your investing strategy. All right, number 2, get clarity on exactly what you want to accomplish. And not only what you want to accomplish, but ultimately why you want to accomplish that. And here's what's so important about that. If I ask most people on their investing strategy, they want to make as big a return as possible. And let me tell you, you could have some big years where you do some great returns. But what I have found over time, if you don't have clarity on what you're really trying to accomplish, you'll make a lot of mistakes. Because you'll go for it and you will win sometimes. And then you'll go for it and you'll lose sometimes. My advice to you is 1, get clarity on specifically what you want to accomplish. And when you ask yourself, why do I want to accomplish that? It solidifies, this is why. And this is why I'm so clear what I want my returns to be, because I know exactly what I'm going to use those monies for. The other key with this is when you're clear on what you want to accomplish, your risk and your goals can be aligned. If someone says, I want to make 25, 30% every single year, well, clearly that individual is going to have to take a lot more risk trying to generate 25% return year in and year out. Or someone else might say, I figured it out. if I hit a 7% return, it over, okay, gives me what I'm looking to accomplish. So why would I want to take more risk than I'd have to take that I would on a 7% return? Guys, and don't get me wrong, if you find a great investment and it makes sense and it sounds like, you know what, I've done my homework, I'm going to go for it, we'll go for it. But I'm talking to you on a steady diet. Be clear what you want to earn. And my opinion, don't take, okay, undue risks when you don't have to if you're going to get what you need and it's going to provide you what you want. Next, there is no way you can be a good investor if you're paying interest on credit cards. It just doesn't work that way. There's no quality investor who is paying credit card interest rates and then really getting excited about a return that they're making. No one can make that return on a consistent basis. You know, I've even heard Warren Buffett himself speak about that, you know, he can't make returns on a consistent basis at, you know, some of these cards ultimately are 20+%. All right, so you've got to get the credit cards paid off. You cannot do credit card debt and then you're going to focus on building wealth and saving money. All right, so get done with those. Number 4, we talked about budgeting savings at the beginning, or I should say we talked about budgeting revenue. I want you to budget savings as well. See, you know, people spend time budgeting expenses, and I think that's important. All right, certainly you don't want to go out there and just, no matter what you make, you spend it all. That's an absolute error. Certainly, you also don't want to, you know, in our business, you make a great commission, and the first thing you do is you go buy a huge luxury item. Come on. You know what? To me, I'm going to put that in a class of common sense. No, don't do that. It makes no sense. However, I am going to tell you this, and I've done this through my whole life once I got into real estate and started making a little bit of money, okay, which turned into a lot of bit of money. And that is this, that when I budgeted my savings, I was more laxed on my spending, meaning this, I didn't want to live like a hermit. And I didn't need to live like a hermit as long as I had my revenue focus and I stayed clear on what I needed to earn on an ongoing basis. See, I'd rather put in the time, and you may not be this same mindset. I'd rather put in the additional time to ensure I'm getting the revenue I need and give myself some flexibility on the expense side. Again, no, I wasn't going out there and buying huge luxury items anytime I made dollars. However, when I wanted to do something, I would do it. And I wouldn't look back and sit there and go, I'm not allowed to do that. I can't spend those dollars today. I'm going to live like a hermit. And I know there's a lot of books that talk about this, that, you know what? You got to live like a hermit for many, many years, and then you save money. And you know what? That may work. I didn't use that plan of attack. I didn't overspend. I enjoyed my life, but I had a clear number that I needed to spend, or that I needed to save on a monthly basis. And I would say 99% of the time I went over that number in putting dollars away. And it's different for every single person. So you want to get clear on, what do I want to save? You know, my mother, may she rest in peace, used to always tell me and say, you know, Mark, whatever you make, put 50% away. I'm not saying I did that, but put 50% away and then go have fun with the other 50%. I didn't use those percentages, but I have to say overall, I did follow that rule. I enjoyed my life, but I paid myself first. I paid myself first and put those dollars away knowing, okay, relax and go have a good time and enjoy life. All right? So keep that in mind. Budget your savings, still budget your expenses, but budget your savings and pay yourself first. One more thing. I would suggest that if you are going to buy any type of luxury item, I want you to buy the luxury items that have a one-time purchase. So what that means is this, that, all right, you're going to go out and you're going to buy this killer vacation. You're going to buy whatever, a luxury item, but you have the money, you buy it, and you're done. it's not a drain on you on a monthly basis. So if you buy a big luxury car and you lease it, all right, well, you put a little bit of money down and now that's draining you on a monthly basis. Not a good plan of attack. So if you're going to do it, go for those one-time luxury items. You can't do it all the time, but it's something you really wanted. Go for those one-time luxury items that you can just pay off and not have it affecting ongoing monthly cash flow. All right, that was 4. Number 5, and that is follow the 4-in-1 rule if you're investing in residential homes. Let me tell you what the 4-in-1 rule is. And it always protected me. For every 4 homes that I own, at least one, could be more, but one has to be free and clear. See, I've seen a lot of people leverage up their purchases. So they want to buy as many as they can, thinking that's going to protect me. Well, 2 errors comes along these lines. One, I find that people will spread themselves too thin in that scenario. Okay, that's number 1. And number 2, when people tend to do that, they tend to lose sight on cash flow, okay, versus asset, and which is our next one. Is I want you to think cash flow, all right? Our number 6 is cash flow, not so much asset. So before you'll commit to an asset, whatever the asset is, be it a residential home or not, you want to make sure that it drives cash flow. And as long as it drives cash flow, you can do that. Now, for me, instead of, even if it was a positive cash flow, I would want one of those homes, in my example, out of the 4 free and clear. Because if I had a free and clear house, 1, the cash flow is a beautiful thing on that one house. 2, I could use that to pay down another house. And remember, you do that one at a time. So you're not trying to pay down 5 houses at the same time, or even your other 3. One house at a time. You pay off one, and then you fight to pay off the other. I don't put any other monies down unless I'm putting it down on one additional asset. Why? Because my goal is to fight to pay that asset off. Once that asset is free and clear, then that's a beautiful thing. Now, here's another little aspect of this. I would never pay down, specifically on a residential house, and I know a lot of people do this, so like I said at the beginning, you may disagree, but I would never pay down a residential home, all right, by giving the cash to that asset without having it paid off. So how do I do that? Well, I would have a separate account that I would put those savings in, that they are earmarked to pay off house B. I've already got, let's say, house A paid off, but I'm fighting to pay down house B. I would have that separate account and it's there. And the time I would pay it off would be when I could do it as a lump sum. What I never want you to do is pay off a portion, even half of an asset. Because here's what happens. When you pay down an asset, your current payment stays the same. So you've still got the same risk of outlay of cash flow. If I'm going to use my cash for something, then I'm going to stop or lower my outlay of cash flow. So that's why when you refinance something, well, then you can put more down because your payment's changing. Your payment was $1,500 a month, and now with the refi and the additional cash you're putting down, it's dropping to $900 a month. Okay, that makes sense to me. You're lowering your cash flow, so go for it. But if you're not lowering your cash flow, I would use a separate savings account earmarked for what you want to do. Wait till you save enough money, which, by the way, for me was a motivator. Okay, it was a revenue generating motivator because I wanted to make more money because I wanted to get that house paid off quicker. And now I have that money there. And now when I pay it off, I've got house number 2 free and clear. And of course, cash flow in that scenario is great. And last point on this is if you ever do need access to capital, a residential home that's free and clear, regardless of what the value did, because the market adjusted and the value came down, whatever, the cash flow many times in a down market goes up. People need to live somewhere. And I still have access to cash because I've got free and clear assets to work on. All right, I know there was a lot of information there, but there was a lot of rules that came tied to that one rule of things that were really important when I buy residential real estate. All right, and number 7, invest in what you know and or at least that you know what you're going to do to exit if things change. You know, I'm not a stock guy. It's not my expertise. All right. However, any dollars that I do invest in stocks, I agree with myself that that's going to be untouched. See, my exit strategy in stock for me personally is I'm not going to exit because I know the market will ebb and flow, but over time, could be a very, very long time, over time, I know stocks are going to be okay. Well, if that's true, then Mark, time is your enemy, and you certainly don't want to have to pick the wrong time out of necessity. So for me, I invest less in stock portfolio. However, the money I do invest in stocks is untouchable. I'm never going to need it. I make sure I'm not going to need it. I have other savings put aside. That's why revenue driving is so important. As you can see here, there's a lot of the buckets of dollars, and the only way you get those buckets of dollars is you're generating revenue. That's why I started it with number 1, and it's your most important focus. Each and every day, you're generating revenue, and then out of those monies, you have clarity of where each of those points are going. But ultimately, if you're investing in stocks, my opinion is keep timing on your side, and that means I can leave that money there as long as I possibly want. Hey, if the market's doing great and you want to pull out some of those, that's not a problem. But I never want you in a situation where, oh my God, the market's down, I have to pull it out. In fact, what professionals will tell you is that when the market goes down, and if it's down in a steep way, putting more money in the market at that time that you can leave alone and not touch is probably a much better move. All right. In conclusion, building savings and building wealth, to me, the number 1 is a thought process. And you've got to really be committed to yourself, your business, and your plan of attack if it's going to be effective. Nothing better than time and compound interest. I will tell you, it's a beautiful thing. And you add to that a focus on cash flow and build your cash flow over time. I truly believe you will build lots of savings. You can build great substantial wealth, and you will be a happy, happy camper, and you'll make money without even getting out of bed. And that's a beautiful thing. Have a great week, everybody. And we'll talk to you next week. Next week, we're going to cover number 10, our final topic in our series, and that is exit strategy. And let me leave you with this. If you think you don't need an exit strategy until you're ready to exit, you would be incorrect. So I would advise showing up next week. Take care, everybody. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.